What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back at it with another Dent takeover. For the audio only listeners, Shaun and Jaevon will not be joining us tonight. So, like I said, it's another Dent takeover. I am joined with the one and only Alex Dent. Alex, tell the listeners how you're doing today.
I am great. It is a Friday. I have my voice, so I'm ready to get at it.
Yeah, man. A lot of people that tuned in to the clips on YouTube, on the segments, weren't so happy with Alex. So I'm hoping she comes in here and gives some redemption to the Dent name. But I'm doing great. Can't complain. It's like Alex said, it's Friday. Unfortunately, it's only my Thursday because I work on Saturdays. So just another day, another dollar. I got a lot of good things to look forward to this weekend. So I'm looking forward to recapping some NBA trade deadline. So on this episode, like you guys can really catch, we will recap all the big time trades, and then we will also show love to the trades that aren't as big as the trades that we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about specific trades in particular: James Harden, Ivan Zubac, and then we're going to talk the Jaren Jackson trades. They will get their own individual segments, and then we will have another trade deadline recap where we just talk about a lot of other trades that might have stuck out to us that aren't as big names, not trading all stars and whatnot. So before we get into that, Alex, I told you before the show we were going to start off with your apology to the Charlotte Hornets fans out there. Now that I am the spokesman for Charlotte's Nation, we last time we talked on Friday, we were on a 5-game win streak. Now we are on 8. You say we didn't beat nobody. Now we beating everybody. So, what do you have to say for the people that were in the comments saying she don't know ball?
I do. But you know what? I will say this. They have been a great team in the last for 2026. Do I think that they can still be top 6 in the East? No. But I think they will eventually make the playoffs through the play-in. I stand on business. They're 5.5 games back from the 6th seed. They're on an 8-game winning streak, I believe. I don't know if they're playing. Mm-hmm. I might be wrong, but they only won 24 games.
They started off bad. It's all good.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But a third of their wins just came from like January. The last 5 weeks, first 5 weeks of the year. So I'm not saying because I remember the Celtics a few years ago. They started rolling hot and they made it all the way to the NBA Finals. But that is the Celtics with 2 All-Stars in the team. And so shout out to Charlotte. You know, I will say they have been a good team. And they have not been on my radar because usually Charlotte's a team I don't watch. However, I still stand on my take. They won't be top 6.
Hornets Nation, we're here. Charlotte Nation, Hornets Nation, Buzz City.
Who's the spokesperson?
They were all saying that. At least one of these people on the podcast were talking about. They were talking about. I like the energy. We announce you the Hornets fan. I was like, you know what, man? I'll take over for the year. I'm gonna do what I can to spread the good gospel. Now we're here.
And where's Charlotte the Hornets coming down your throat? Saying trades.
I'm speaking knowledge. You know what I mean? I'm giving what they want. They love the energy. They want to talk about what's hot, and the Charlotte Hornets are the definition of hot. That's enough about them. They didn't make any moves in the trade. Well, they did, but nothing that. I mean, I'm definitely going to talk about it, but I don't know if Alex paid attention to what they did.
No.
So I'm going to drop some knowledge on them later on the show, but let's get right into it, Alex. The Cleveland Cavaliers trade for James Harden. So what this trade was, to give you guys the exact breakdown, was Darius Garland in a 2nd-round pick. This is James Harden being James Harden. First off, Alex, are you surprised that James Harden wanted out of L.A.? And then secondly, what do you think James Harden replaces and brings to the Cavaliers that Darius Garland did not provide?
I was kind of confused. I thought the Clippers have been playing sort of well the last few weeks and the last few games. And so I know he missed the last few. I don't know. It just kind of popped out of nowhere. And I think there's a lot of these trades, not necessarily like teams I thought would be in the running for like getting new pieces. So like the Clippers, I know they're an old team that kind of wanted to get off of James Harden. He is a little pricey. I'm interested to see how they mesh this with Donovan Mitchell. I don't think that's the same timeline. However, James Harden is available, and James Harden can provide something down the line and into the playoffs. So I'm not so sure about the Cavalier side of things, but the Clippers, I mean, you get Darius Garland. I don't know what's wrong with that toe. He stubbed that toe 2 years ago and it hasn't been right since. So I'm intrigued to see how Darius Garland kind of comes back in a Clippers uniform. I'm intrigued to see if the Clippers keep Leonard. Don't think they probably will. And I don't know if he's a free agent this summer. I don't think he is.
He has 2 more years on his contract, so he's not a free agent.
Okay, yeah. So I'm intrigued to see what they do with that going forward. But I think that the Clippers, because they made another trade as well, and they got Mathurin. So they're getting some young pieces. They got John Collins already there. So I'm intrigued to see this like sort of rebuild because I know they don't have a lot of draft assets. Well, they now have a lot. And I know they have the Pacers not top 4, but like top 10 protected. Not protected. I don't know. A very high pick and a very great draft class coming up. So I'm intrigued to see what they do going forward.
You talked about it. You mentioned how good the Los Angeles Clippers were playing. They've been the best team since Christmas. They just won 17 out of 21 games. So Where does this come from? Where does this James Harden trade come from? And I was listening to the Brian Windhorst podcast, and he, after the Christmas break, he went to the team and said, "Could we figure out this deal?" Because he's signed a 1+1. So this year is fully guaranteed at $42 million, and then next year is not fully guaranteed. Only guaranteed money is $13 million.
Yeah.
So he went to them and said, "Can we make something happen?" And they said, "Absolutely not." So James Harden being James Harden, the thing that we've seen 4 other times this decade, he's out of there. We saw this in 2020 with Houston. We saw it in 22 with Brooklyn. We saw it in 23 with Philly, and now we're seeing it in 2026 with the Los Angeles Clippers. It came on the news that they were in serious conversations for Darius Garland, so everyone started to talk about it. We didn't know if it was going to happen, and then boom, it happens. James Harden sits out 2 games for personal reasons, and Darius Garland's hurt, so there was no need for them to be on the court. Swap out. This is going to be an interesting thing because if you ask my good friend Kenny, the Cavs are winning it all. The Cavs are back. But James Harden is a generational choker. Every time you need him to play well, he doesn't play well. We saw it last year, just to give you a short sample size. Last year, we saw it Game 7, 7 points, shot 25% from the field. Game 6, when there was no pressure, they were up 3-2. All you have to do is win that game. But him being James Harden, he went out there and had 28 points, shot 50% from the field, and they lost. 2024, round 1, Game 6, 16 points, 31 from the field. 2022, Eastern Conference semis, set 9 points, shot 22% from the field.
Wasn't he hurt though?
No, this was with the Sixers. This was the Sixers. So this is MVP Joel Embiid. Yeah. They brought everything they needed to the table for James Harden to deliver, and he couldn't. He came up short. He's horrible in Game 7s. So we've seen this over and over and over. But what does he bring to this team? A phenomenal playmaker. Joel Embiid has 1 MVP, and it came from James Harden. He facilitates. He knows how to get guys the ball. And Donovan Mitchell playing with a Darius Garland, yes, he's a great facilitator, but he's not James Harden. He's a bigger guard. We've seen with the Dames and the CJs, the John Morant and the Desmond Bains, it's really hard to win with 2 small guards. So getting a bigger guard, is James Harden this elite defender? Absolutely not. But he's not a mismatch. You got to respect me. He's a 6'6" guard. Donovan Mitchell's already small enough as it is. So he brings a lot to help this team, but what is he going to do when they need him most? So we're going to get into the Clippers' other trade later. But Darius Garland's going to be a huge piece. You get a 2nd-round pick. and you get Darius Garland. He's 26 years old. Yes, Alex mentioned the big toe injury that's been lingering. When he's healthy, they won 65 games last year. Number one team in the East. So when Darius Garland's healthy, he's an all-star. So I get it, when they needed him the most, they were hurt. But Evan Mobley was also hurt. Jared Allen was also hurt. So that as a unit, they just weren't healthy. So it's easy to sit here and point the finger at not Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland. But if we're not going to point the finger at the other two guys that were hurt out of this big four, we're really doing them a disservice. So what are the Cleveland Cavaliers' outlook on this trade? They had a 5-year window. They re-signed all their guys. They were all young. And now you're essentially a 2-year window. Donovan Mitchell has an opportunity to extend this offseason. And if he doesn't extend, he has one more year on his contract. So this is the Cleveland Cavaliers saying we're going to do whatever we can to make Donovan happy. And rumors came out in the Brian Windhorst podcast that he asked for James Harden specifically. So you know what? You get what you ask for. And the grass isn't always greener. So James Harden is an all-star. He's an all-NBA type player, even at this age. But they could end up losing both of them next offseason. So there's a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation that LeBron's coming home. You get LeBron, you get Donovan Mitchell, you get James Harden, you trade Evan Mobley for Giannis, and you go all in. You go all in for LeBron, Ramon, James. Cleveland, this is for you. Well, that's next year. What are they going to do this year? The East is, we've been talking about it every NBA podcast, that the East is not great this year. This is a move that you make because you think you're a piece away. And now we'll see. We'll see if they are that piece away. So we were talking about the Clippers, so let's roll over to the next big Clippers trade, the Indiana Pacers trade for Ivan Zubac. This trade was really big and really small at the same time. The Pacers are the fourth best team. They have a 45% chance to have a top 4 pick. Why do you make this trade? You make this trade because Pascal Siakam is not a center. We saw last year in the finals when they would play big ball, the Oklahoma City Thunder, with Chet and Hartenstein. And bless Miles Turner's heart, he's not a defender. He's a scorer. So you get Zubac in here. He was a defensive player of the year. He's always a defensive player of the year candidate. So he automatically makes your team better. Losing Benedict Mathurin is going to hurt. He is a young guy who came into that series last year and helped them. Yeah. I get it. Everyone's going to say, Kevin, he's only hot every other game. But if every other game is 30, shit, we'll take it. That's a good microwave kind of guy to have. He's a young guy. He's 21 years old. So the Clippers get to get Darius Garland, who's 25, and Benedict Mathurin, who's 21 years old. The only interesting thing about this is I get it. They have a 42% chance to get a top 4 pick. That pick that they traded to the Clippers is protected 1-4 and 10-30. So that pick is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's going to the Clippers. So I get it. You know, the Pacers stink, but that's a gamble because on one side of the coin, you can get AJ DeBonta, you can get Darren Peterson, you can get Cameron Boozer, you get Caleb Wilson. Like, we can go on and on about this generational draft class. But if those ping pong balls don't go your way and it's 5-9 and you lose that first round pick, you went all in for 2027 for what? So it can go either which way. But it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out if they are lucky enough to keep that pick. Alex, what were your thoughts on the Pacers trading for Zubac?
I didn't even know what happened. I think it was today's Friday, so maybe this morning or late last night or something that I heard the news. Now, obviously, the trade deadline happened yesterday afternoon, so I was probably just late to the party. But, you know, when I was kind of scrolling on like ESPN and Shaun's Twitter account and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, like Chris Paul's a Raptor and Mike Conley is just kind of in the universe and yada, yada, yada. And everyone's trading with the Bulls, right? That's what I kind of noticed. And I was like, okay, like this deadline kind of felt like everyone rushed it at the end. And it was just kind of just in the water trades, in the water, like the weeds, like nothing like this is going to change the course of the or the Eastern Conference, right? But this trade is really interesting, like Kevin stated. Because I know why they needed a center, especially when Tyrese Halliburton comes back. That pick and roll is going to be abysmal to anyone that plays them. I just think I don't know if I would have traded my pick in the 2026 draft, even though they're still going to tank. So it's interesting then, like the Utah Jazz, for instance. Like I feel like the Pacers really believe they'll probably get top 4. And they could. But I mean, usually if you're the worst team in the league, which they are towards the bottom, sometimes you get 1, but sometimes you could go down as like 5. 6,
as the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, like as the Sacramento Kings. So like that's just how it rolls. And so that's really dicey. And I don't know as a GM if I would be willing to give up that pick. Benedict, that was hard, but I could see because you needed a Zubac. But yeah, I'm interested to see what is going to happen on draft night, or not draft night.
NBA lottery night.
Yes, lottery night. See how everything goes.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy, but I mean, like I said, if they get that top 4 pick and you get to bring in a superstar 5-star prospect, the Pacers can be scary because everyone on that team is young besides Pascal Siakam. So it's going to be interesting to see. But moving on to the next big-time trade is the Utah Jazz trade for Jaren Jackson Jr. Alex, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think the Jazz got better? What do you think, not only from the Utah Jazz standpoint, but from the Grizzlies standpoint?
Grizzlies just wanted a buttload of draft picks. That's all they wanted. They want to rebuild. They kind of want to. I feel like they're kind of going down the route of like OKC, but like a tier under, the Paul George and the Russell Westbrook, because they really traded them at like their top value. I'm not saying Triple J and Desmond Bane were at their top value when they got traded. They were just a tier above them. And for the Grizzlies, it makes sense. I'm interested to see where they ship off Ja, and if Ja even plays the rest of this year. I think he has to. No, they got to get his trade value up. They got to, or they're gonna waive him or something. Like, but I don't think he will wear a Grizzlies jersey in the 26-27 season next year. So I like this for the Grizzlies. Let's rebuild. I like Walter Clayton Jr. I like him a lot. So I think that they could kind of build from there. The Utah Jazz is interesting. I feel like a lot of the lower teams made a lot of trades this year. And I don't know what they are in the standings, but I know they're probably bottom of the West. Are they going to try to make it to the play-in and like make it to the playoffs? Like, I'm intrigued. Like, I'm like, okay, because I like the Lauri Markkanen. I think that's what it is. Markkanen. Then you have Hessler. And I like that big trio, especially in a stacked big West. Like, you got to go through the Jokic's, you got to go through like Minnesota, which I think are one of the top winners in this trade deadline. Getting that young guard from the Bulls. Ayo, I think that's how you say it.
Ayo, yeah.
Yeah, Ayo.
Ayo.
Yeah, Ayo. Apologies. You got to get through OKC and their big lineup. I mean, the Spurs. Come on, like the list goes on and on and on. And so for me, I think this is interesting, and I want to see if they're going to make a run. Yeah, Triple J is in Utah, which I think is a very big difference than Memphis, Tennessee. So I'm interested to see what happens.
So I'm sorry to kill your interest. It's not happening. They are still going to tank. Let me tell you why.
Oh, but
they have a top 8 protected pick. If that pick is 9, it goes to the Thunder. They are going to keep that pick. They're going to say, Jaren Jackson Jr., we love you. Sit that ass down in them street clothes. After the All-Star break, only like 20 games anyways, couple weeks. Move your family, get a house, take your time. We don't need you to play because we need that pick. Because just like the Pacers, this is a big-time draft class. So if they're able to keep that top 8 protected pick, and there's nothing Danny Ainge would want more or would hate more than to the Thunder to get that pick. So they will say, G League, here you go. Play on the NBA. We are not losing this pick.
The G League.
So it's going to be interesting to see. But going into this trade package, the Utah Jazz traded 3 bad picks for a Defensive Player of the Year All-Star, the 2027 Lakers pick, the 31 pick for the Suns, and then a swap with the Grizzlies in 27. So you think you're going to be good next year? Fuck them picks. Like the Rams GM said. Forget them picks. We don't need them. So they keep that top 8 pick to add alongside a Keontae George, Ace Bailey, Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler, and a Jaren Jackson Jr. This team is the worst defense in the NBA. Walker Kessler's hurt, and you get to bring back a Defensive Player of the Year kind of player. So you now have in Walker Kessler and Jaren Jackson Jr., arguably 2 of the top 5 rim protectors in the NBA. And I get it, Jaren Jackson's offense, a little bit more to be desired. Rebounding, a lot more to be desired. But you have Walker Kessler, Lauri Markkanen, when he was with Cleveland, that when he played the 3 and he was an all-star, we really got to flourish. Because he is he's a stretch 4. He's not a guy that's going to go in there and bang. So to now say you could just strictly play on the perimeter is going to help them a lot. The Memphis Grizzlies, they now have 13 picks over the next 7 years. Tied with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Are they good picks? Are they the Thunder picks? No. But they're picks. And you got to start somewhere. What were you going to say, Alex?
Well, I was also going to say if the ownership was the same from a few years back when they drafted like Desmond Bain and like Triple J and stuff like that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about the people you draft and how you develop them. Like, it doesn't matter the pick, because to me, like, that's why the Spurs or even like Miami Heat are so good. I mean, Miami Heat's been like in the middle, but like they really get players that fit in the system. You develop them, you make them grow, and then they become role players or like key players later down in different, like the next season or stuff like that. So to me, I'm intrigued on, you have all these draft assets, right? Either you're going to get a big star because you could trade all these, or you could kind of go the OKC route and, you know, develop your guys, draft well, and go from there. And
you read my mind and get into the comments. Our father said, and they still have Ja Morant, so they can still get something from him. You read my mind, Alex, about the development. This is a team that drafts well. They drafted a Ja Morant. They drafted a Desmond Bain in the late first round and turned him into 3 first-round picks. Yes. They drafted a Zach Edey. They drafted a Jaren Jackson Jr., turned him into a $200 million player, got 4 first-round picks for him. Defensive Player of the Year. They have a Cedric Howard. They have a Jalen Wells and a Cam Spencer, and all 3 of those guys are in the Rising Stars game. So they draft well. So having these picks, having these buttload of picks when you're an organization that drafts well, you know, like you said, Alex, who knows what they can turn this into? Moving into these picks, they have the 26th pick of whoever has the worst pick out of the Suns or the Magic. 2027, they have a top 4 protected pick for the Lakers. 27, they have the best pick out of Utah Jazz or the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then in 2030, they have an unprotected Magic pick. In 2029, they have a top 2 protected Magic pick. In 31, they have an unprotected Suns pick. So this is after the Devin Booker era. See if the Magic can figure it out. And then they have 6 second-round picks. So they have a shitload of picks. And they're also bringing in the 18th pick from the draft, being Walter Clayton Jr. And then they bring in the 9th pick from 2 years ago, being Walter Clayton or Taylor Hendricks, excuse me. So they have a lot of picks. They have a lot of things going for them. So it's going to be very interesting to kind of see how things play out. This year, I don't see them contending, but like I said, they traded their first round pick next year. So that means they're all in for next year. So, Alex, with a revamped Jazz team, just throw me a prediction, a number, or even a play-in playoff lock. What seed do you think this team could be in next year in 2027?
Interesting. I think they'll definitely be playing. But I want to say they'll be like 7-8, maybe. I think you got OKC, Spurs, Denver, Houston, Lakers. I'm missing a team here. Who is in the top
Timberwolves.
6? The Timberwolves. Those are locks. Unless there's like a significant injury or something like that, those are going to be your top 6 in the West, in no particular order. And then you'll have the Suns, and I don't know what
the Lakers. I mean, so it's going to be interesting.
But like you have like Portland when Dame comes back, and you kind of have like those. They're just like scaling the water.
Borderline teams.
Like just float, right? I can see the Jazz maybe being there. Maybe they'll be 8-9.
I mean, Alex, I agree. Getting a playing game in Utah would be big as shit. This is the Utah Jazz. We getting a playing game with a chance to go to the playoffs.
I just can't believe they rebuild so quickly. Like
that's
5 years ago, and now we're talking about playing in. I mean, it's incredible how quickly people are rebuilding. Like it's not like a decade process like it used to be, because I think prospects are just getting better. Draft classes are better, athletes are becoming better, you know what I mean? And so I mean, we have to talk about like the like sports medicine as well as getting better. And so I feel like rebuilding it shouldn't really be looked at as like this negative thing, because I feel like it does, maybe as a Utah fan it feels long, but if your team really wants to compete, it isn't a long process. You just
it's all about management. If you have a good management,
it starts from top bottom. Yeah.
So the next big trade we are going to talk about in full is the Washington Wizards trading for Anthony Davis. And Alex, when I tell you, when I got this notification, I had to double check. I said, there's no way Anthony Davis is going to Washington. And you know what? They not fucking around. It is like an arms race for the 2027 season. Everyone is pushing all their chips into the middle. And you get a Trae Young, you get Anthony Davis. That's more than the Hawks did in Trae Young's 5-6 years. Like, you're going to pair a Trae Young and Anthony Davis along guys like former number 1 pick Alex Sarr, former number 6 pick Trey Johnson, former 25th pick in Keyshawn George. You got Cam Whitmore, who's a former first-round pick, Bub Carrington, who's a former lottery pick. You got Bilal Coulibaly, a former lottery pick. And then you got Will Riley, who's a top 20 pick. So you're filling these young guys with an elite veteranship. You're bringing Anthony Davis, a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, an NBA All-Pro, All-NBA, All-Star, Trae Young, All-Star, All-NBA. Like, you're bringing a culture around, and you still kept your first-round pick. So Trae Young, stay in them sweats. Anthony Davis, stay in them sweats, because we get to bring in another. We were talking about this draft class all episode. You get to bring in another elite young guy into this organization. So what this is going to look like for the Washington Wizards in the East, play in maybe. And that is good enough, because look at what we've been doing. Nothing. Mm-hmm. So, Alex, what were your initial thoughts on Anthony Davis getting traded to the Wizards, and then kind of just the aspect of what this future can look like in Washington?
Yeah, I think when I first heard the news, I thought it was interesting the timeline that they traded him. I thought they would trade him in the summer when his trade value would be a little bit higher. I think the Mavericks just really just want to rebuild around Cooper, and just like we're going all in around this player, because Cooper has been amazing. So I totally respect that. I just think it's kind of ironic in the lap. Thinking back on that Luka AD trade, I'm not gonna say that.
Say it. You're saying what I'm thinking. Say it.
It's still the worst trade I've ever like heard of, like in sports history. You know what I mean? But I think that like the Mavericks, they are so blessed they got Coop. They are so blessed because if Cooper Flack was not a Maverick at the moment, the owner would have to resign. Like he had, and it's just outrageous. Like, and I can't even put it into words at the moment. I can't even articulate it. But you know, the Mavericks fans are past the Luka trade. What you got for Luka is the Marvin Bagley Jr., who was drafted before Luka by the Sacramento Kings in 2017, 2018.
Always find a way to shade the Kings.
It's my hometown. I just
I'm sure everyone here gets it. You just
yeah.
It really grinds your gears.
Yeah, they really do. So it's really interesting from the Mavericks standpoint, and it's really interesting from the Wizards too, because this doesn't make them like a top 6 lock in the playoffs, but I am glad there's more moves in the East to make some of these Eastern teams better. Because I feel like, let's be honest, maybe since like 2017, maybe 2016, it's been like top 2 team heavy in the East. Like I remember it was Milwaukee and the Celtics for a minute. And then the Knicks try to add up in there. Like obviously the Pacers came out of nowhere. The Cavs were there for a minute too. And so like I really want a little bit more variety in the East. So maybe this will make it interesting, especially like you said earlier, the Hornets are doing well. Maybe that can translate to next year's success. I kind of like what the Hawks are doing, but like I really don't know what they're doing. Maybe the Magic could turn it around. Maybe Giannis goes to Miami. You know what I mean? So let's add a little bit more variation into the East. But also adding 2 injury-prone stars makes no sense to me too. Because like, when are they ever going to get on the court? Because I feel like at this point with AD, love the man. He's a gold medalist, NBA champion, like deservingly to be in the Hall of Fame. You tap him on the shoulder, his wrist breaks. Like his body works so differently. And he's getting older, and I know he cost a lot, but it does make them a little bit more competitive in a not so crazy Eastern Conference.
Like Smuff said, AD is cooked. It sells tickets. You know, being an organization that's been a ghost town, bringing 2 All-NBA players to your town every night, wearing your jersey. I don't know if you remember, Alex, but when the Wizards had Bradley Beal and John Wall, that shit was popping.
That was crazy. You had gang sign throwing Jay.
They had Paul Pierce and game winners in the playoffs. Like, Washington is great. Hungry for a sports team, a good sports team, and now they might have it. So you never know. But you talked about the Mavericks, and I wanted to bring that up. The biggest loser of the NBA trade deadline is Klay Thompson.
Oh.
He left home dynasty, left them to go play with Luka and Kyrie, and then you get AD and Coop, and you're like, oh, we good. Then they trade Luka, they trade Kyrie, or they trade Anthony Davis. Kyrie's not coming back, and now he's the Fresh Prince meme, just sit in the living room, empty, just looking around, saying, "Damn." I mean, it wouldn't have been much better in Golden State, but at least.
But you know what, though?
You built that home.
It's not even that he could have stayed home. Could have went to the Lakers.
Could have went anywhere, but he wanted to go play with Luka, and I get it.
Played for that franchise that he grew up like loving. You know what I mean? And now look at the Lakers. They got Luka. So you should have just went there. But no one would have expected the Dallas Mavericks to ever trade Luka. No. And Mavericks fans, what a hell of like a 365-ish days they've had.
It was like literally like last week. It was a year ago since they traded Luka.
Yeah. It's literally been insane for Dallas Mavericks fans.
And you traded a 5-time All-NBA in 6 years of his career. They turned Luka
NBA Finals run.
They turned the Luka Doncic. They turned Luka Doncic into Max Christie, Chris Middleton,
Oh,
AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley, a 2026 unprotected Oklahoma City Thunder pick, so bottom of the bottom, a Warriors 2030 protected pick, and 3 future second-round picks.
that's so sad. And you know what I think about? Mikal Bridges went for 5 first-round picks, and Luka went for 1.
Desmond Bane went for 3.
Yeah, Luka Doncic altogether was 3 or 4 first-round picks. If I'm not mistaken.
That's crazy, but now we are going to move on to just any move that we didn't talk about. So I'm going to start it off. We have Smurf in here, so I figured, let's talk love to his Oklahoma City Thunder, trading for runner-up Rookie of the Year, Jared McCain, for a 2026 Rockets pick that is going to be a bad pick, and 3 second-round picks. Alex talked about how this team's been injured. Can they make another run? Having a guy like Jared McCain coming on a rookie contract, coming off of your bench, if he can get healthy, he's going to be in his groove. He's shooting 40% from the field, from 3, and he's not even healthy. Jared McCain is the perfect fit for this team. You have guys like Jalen Williams, and you have guys like SGA that are ball-dominant guys, and you need guys to sit in the corner and wait for their time. He's a knockdown three-point shooter. He's a smaller guard, so that's going to kind of hinder him at some points, but he's a knockdown shooter. Either talk about that trade, Alex, a little bit more, or talk about the next trade that you want to talk about that fell under the radar.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that OKC got him for cents, it seems like. I cannot believe they got him. And at this point, OKC, how many people are on your roster? Who did you drop? Because I just feel like you have so many guys. I can name at least 10, 11 players on their team. I can't name you 8 on the Utah Jazz. I just can't believe that they got Jared McCain for chip change. I think it's a great pick, like Kevin said. I'm intrigued to see how he fits into the system. He is a smaller guard. We'll see how that works. But I think more depth, especially in the West, is going to play a huge role, especially deep into the playoffs when you're probably going to go up against Ant and the Timberwolves, Jokic and the Nuggets, KD and the Rockets. And they got a little bit of depth, but not as much as OKC. So, OKC, man, you guys are just cheating at this point. I'm going to say one thing, and I love the New Orleans trade of Alvarado to the Knicks. I feel like Alvarado is such
a New York Knicks guard.
Yeah, he's feisty. He's obviously one of the smallest guards in the league, but he plays hard. He plays every possession like it's his last, and to go back home into the Garden and play backup for Brunson, I just think that's another piece for the Knicks. Especially as I'm speaking, it's the 4th quarter and they're playing the Detroit Pistons. They are down almost 40 points. So anything the Knicks can add to their toolbox, they need at this moment. I still slightly have the Knicks beating the Pistons, but it is very slight. It's going to go to a game 7 to me, or maybe it will be less, but I truly think that I like that piece. I don't know because then you'll have him, you'll have, they got that one guy, I don't remember his name. Got that one guy, I think he's 51 or something, I don't know. But you also have Clarkson coming off the bench. So I like these pieces. I like this bench. And they finally figured out their bench issue from last year. Mike Brown. Shout out to Mike Brown because he is killing it over there. But for New Orleans, I find this interesting because why did they traded him away, but I really thought a Zion Williamson trade would happen. And I just don't know what they're waiting for with him. I don't know if his trade value is going to go up if he actually plays or if he continues to play. So I thought around this time, they would probably cut their losses and trade him. And I'm really, I don't know what to do with him. So
that is a pick. That was a trade that I really wasn't going to talk about, but you made a lot of good points. He fits that culture, so it's going to be nice seeing with the Knicks. A trade that I'm going to talk about. Jonathan Kuminga has been freed, ladies and gentlemen. He has been freed. Free JK. I know that the Warriors fans are going to say we wanted Giannis, but you got Porzingis. You know, Alex is a Celtics fan, so she might feel differently about Porzingis, but he's only played in like 15 games. He's always hurt, so I don't really know what that brings to this team. I don't know if that helps them in any kind of way make a push. If this was New York Knicks Porzingis or even Boston Celtics Porzingis, I'd be like, you know what, this is a good move. But it's not. The Hawks get Jonathan Kuminga to play alongside Jalen Johnson, so their wings are set in stone. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been balling. You got Big O. You got Zachary Ricochet. You got Dyson Daniels. So they have a lot of good wings. And what a lot of people weren't talking about is they have that Pelicans pick, which is right now 52% to be top 4. And if we hit sim lottery right now, it's number 5. So you're bringing in another young talent. They're probably going to stay away from the wing position, maybe a point guard and got rid of Trae Young, but they can make a lot of things shake. So the Hawks have a really bright future. As far as the Warriors go, man, I know they were really big on Giannis, and you get Porzingis. I don't know where they go from here. So what's another trade that you want to talk about?
So we're gonna stay in the East, and we're gonna talk about the Celtics getting Vucevic.
Let me go ahead and erase that for me.
I think that's great. I think you dump Anthony Simons, who I think was on an expiring contract already, but also would probably ask for a lot of money in the offseason. And with their $70 million players, they really ain't got much wiggle room at the moment. And Vucevic is a little bit older. He has been an all-star. I remember watching him when he was with the Orlando Magic. He was great down there for that team during that run or during those seasons. They needed big. They needed spacing. They kind of want to need to get back to kind of how they were with like Porzingis and Al Horford, but they do need a stretch 5 who can kind of space out the floor a little bit and give more wiggle room for Jaylen Brown and then Jason Tatum when he comes back. So I really like this pick. They basically only just gave up Simmons, but their young guys have been playing well. Richard is balling. So I'm going to miss him, don't get me wrong, but you do get a really good big that you desperately needed to see how you could fit within this season and like this run that they're going to get. Because, I mean, like every Celtic, not really like every NBA fan, we didn't think highly of the Celtics coming into the season, losing all these key pieces and JT's out probably for the year. So for them to be 3rd, 4th in the East at the moment, playing the way they're playing, Jaylen Brown is going to be first team All-NBA. He's crazy right now. That team is rolling. And so I don't know. I'm intrigued to see kind of how this all plays out in the playoffs. But, I mean, I don't think they could beat the Knicks or Detroit. But, I mean, you never know.
Do you think he fills the Al Horford role?
No.
He brings more offensively, but less defensively.
Yes. Which is going to be sort of interesting. But, I mean, they have once JT comes back, those 2 long guards really help them defensively. So I'm not too worried about the backside. So, yeah.
Another trade that I want to talk about is the Pistons giving up on Jaden Ivey. They made that run last year, and I was like, man, can you imagine what happens when they get Jaden Ivey back? And it just really never fit. He's not a really good shooter, and that's what that team needs is shooting. They have ball-dominant guys. They have Cade Cunningham. Jalen Duren dominates the ball a lot. So Jaden Ivey really needs the ball in his hands. So that was kind of a disappointment. But I love the Kevin Huerter trade. I think that's
how you gonna have him and Duncan Robinson?
That's what they need. That we were just talking about with the Thunder. Like when you have ball dominant guys, having corner guys that will knock down 3 balls goes a long way. We saw Kevin Huerter and what he did for the Kings in that playoff run. Like he's a knockdown shooter when he needs to be. You don't need much from him. If you just tell him and Duncan Robinson, we need 5 tonight. I don't care who hits 4, you hit 1. You hit 5, you hit 0. We need 5. Y'all figure it out and let's do it. Do you have anything else you want to talk about trade-wise?
I'll say one more. I'll say 2, but I'll be real quick.
Well, I also have another one, so we can go back.
Okay, cool. Io to the Timberwolves. Love that pick. I was intrigued to see what the Timberwolves were going to do. I know they were very heavy on
trying to trade for Giannis.
However, they needed to get some things cleared up, I think, like cap space wise. And so I like getting him. I think you need, I think the Timberwolves, I don't know what they really, I think they are trying. Obviously, you build around Ant. I think that's a no-brainer. But, I mean, you got to get the right point guard for him. And I feel like he could be that piece for them that they've been trying to get at. And then they somehow let go of Mike Conley and then got him back. And they're going to re-sign him for, like, a stupid low contract. So I know that helps with cap space. So I like that. I mean, they only made that, I think that, like, 1 or 2 trades or something like that. So, like, not anything too crazy, but I think that in a stacked West, that can help them down the line.
They were definitely trying to trade for Giannis because when they originally got rid of Conley, it freed up $12 million in cap space.
Yeah.
So they tried. This isn't really a trade, but I think this is going to swing the pendulum. Pendulum. This can swing the pendulum in the NBA, and that's the Nets waiving Cam Thomas.
Yeah.
He averages 24 points. If he goes to the Nuggets, if he goes to the Lakers, if he goes to any playoff team and shows the world that he can play his game and play winning basketball, he's going to get paid next season. So you can bring him on for dirt cheap the rest of the way. And if he can bring it together and bring his 24 to 17, 15 off the bench for I really want the Pistons to do it because we've talked about the Pistons going to get like a Devin Booker, but if they can get a guy like Cam Thomas or the Knicks, the Celtics make a push because wherever he goes is just for the rest of the season. None of these teams that are winning are going to sign him because they don't have the money. But to get a guy like Cam Thomas who's young and can put the ball in the basket and just be a microwave for you guys off the bench, like.
But his 24 game is very much like me and mine.
That's what I'm saying. So on a good team, that 24 becomes 15.
No, I get that. But I just feel like that's hard to integrate that type of player, like that heat check type of player.
Off the bench? To play with your second unit?
Yeah. That's why I don't think he would I don't think he'll go to like, I think like maybe like a Sun. I don't know. Like it has to be someone that like I don't see him going to Denver. I don't see him.
I love him going to Houston or not Houston. Yeah, Houston. Houston would be great.
Houston would be great. That is a great fit for him because like it kind of like a give the ball and let him cook and
just let him in a second lineup when KD needs a break and you because Alperson Goon's a big scorer, but Thompson's not a real big scorer. So to have another guy that can consistently give you buckets,
yeah,
he's wherever he goes is going to shake the world.
Yeah,
because he's not going to a shitty team.
Yeah, no, not at all. But you know what's really interesting, real quick, is that Houston Rockets were like, I don't know if they did any trades during this deadline, and I'm really I was kind of like taken back from that, especially because Steven Adams is out for the rest of the year, and they do need a big.
I mean, they have Clint Capella.
Yeah, but when
you have an all-star guard, all-star center, you only need 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, that is true. That is true. But I just feel like, I don't want Sengun playing. I mean, he did play really good against the Spurs with Wemby, but like you need height. Like you really do in this West. And so I was kind of disappointed that they didn't draft a center. But real quick, I want to do one more take.
Yeah.
Los Angeles Lakers getting Luke Kennard. I think dumping Gabe Vincent. No. Listen. Dumping Gabe Vincent. No hate to the man, but he was just getting cardio on the court. Like he wasn't really doing anything. So you just kind of like push that aside, and you get Luke Kennard, who might not like be the greatest player, but can give you spacing. You get a shooter. You know what I mean? Just give us like 10, 12 points a game. That's all we're asking from you.
Yeah,
And especially the Lakers roster where they kind
need the shooting.
They really do. Because some of these games that they lose, it's just kind of
But Austin Reeves is back now, so we'll see.
That is true. They have missed him desperately.
He missed 2 months of basketball. He would have been an all-star this year. Out of all of our picks for all-stars, we were 4 out of 5.
Really?
Jalen Johnson, Jalen Duren, Jamal Murray, and who's the other guy? Jalen Duren, Jamal Murray.
From earlier this year?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I have no idea what I said.
Or maybe we were 3 for 4. Maybe it was only 3 for 4.
Okay.
Let me see.
But
we got Jalen. Yeah, the only one was Austin Reeves that didn't make it.
He would have made it too.
Yeah, the only one who didn't make it because we had Austin Reeves, Jamal Murray, Jalen Johnson, and Jalen Duren. So Austin Reeves would have made it, but he got hurt. So now we're going to talk about this NBA All-Star teams since we didn't talk about it last episode. So I'm going to go through these teams real quick. So we have 2 USA teams, 1 Stars, 1 Stripes. The Stars teams, Scotty Barnes, Devin Booker, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, Anthony Edwards, Chet, Jalen Johnson, and Tyrese Maxey. Then you have the Stripes, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron, Kawhi, Donovan Mitchell, and Alex's guy, Norman Powell. So I guess the Stripes are the old guys and the Stars are the young guys. And then you have the World team, Giannis, Denny Avia, Luka, SGA, Joker, Jamal Murray, Pascal, Cat, and Wemby. Alex, what were your thoughts on the overall announcement of this? I know we were really hyped to get World versus USA, and then we get a 3-teamer, then there's going to be a 4th team of G Leaguers, so we're essentially get the same format as we did last year. So what were your thoughts on the All-Star teams?
I thought it was going to be something like that because we don't have enough international players to just do.
But we do.
But the thing is though, is it's not like it's 8. It's not like, I don't know how to explain it. Did they expand the number of players that could be all-stars? Because like Leonard, because I was gonna say like, oh, he got snubbed, but then I heard he made it so he could fill out the rest of the roster for Team USA.
Yeah, so it's 8, 8, and 9. Stripes has 9, everyone else is 8.
Okay.
But it's like the World team has enough guys because I didn't mention Joel Embiid. I didn't mention Lauri Markkanen. I didn't mention Dylan Brooks. I didn't mention Franz Wagner. I didn't mention Josh Giddey. They could have filled out a 12-man roster.
I'm not saying they could. Don't get me wrong. There's enough international players in this league that you could probably fill a team of them at this point, right? But it is also voting. And it's not like, okay, here's vote for these international players. Let's see out of the international players who are the all-stars, and then the Americans pick. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like whatever America decides or basketball fans around the world decide, yeah, he's an all-star. Then they kind of figure that out and kind of fill in the spaces in between. So I just thought that was a little weird. But I like it. I like it. I'm excited. I have not watched the NBA All-Star game. I'll be very blunt.
Since Kobe?
20. Yeah. It's been a minute. It's been a very long minute.
They need to go back to East versus West.
No, I like this format. I think if this format doesn't work, then they got to do the NFL route and just do like a bunch of games and make it fun and just call it just call it. You know what I mean? Time of death, 2026 type of vibe. I like it. I think that like for me, right? I love Team USA. I'm not a very patriotic woman, but like every 4 years, those Olympics roll around, and I am a ball.
Now you're Captain America.
Flying across the Appalachian Mountains. I am Team USA. Pronouns are USA. And I feel like my patriotism is coming up because I'm like, we're not going to lose to the world. Now we will. because it's just really unfair, especially with the start. Like, I also don't understand the starting thing too, because they only picked 5 and 5. I don't understand that. So you know what? It doesn't matter to me. At the end of the day, I'm gonna need Team USA to come out of the gate, swinging. But I am invested. I will be seated in front of a TV 8 o'clock or whatever time on Valentine's Day.
Do you have any snubs for us?
Well, I don't know, because I was gonna say Leonard, but he
made it. Was that the only snub you had?
Marketing, maybe, because I know Marketing's been balling, but also then he'll be like World, and I don't know if they needed another World. So like, I don't know if you could really say a snub because they have so many players.
I have snubs.
Oh, okay.
Norman Powell should not be a fucking all-star. That's who it was. You said Norman Powell. You did say that. Yes, you did say that. So we were 4 out of 5. Okay. Alex, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Said it.
Keontae George doesn't make it over Norman Powell.
Norman Powell's been balling.
Michael Porter Jr. doesn't make it over Norman Powell.
It's the Detroit Nets. I mean, Brooklyn Nets.
I'm just if this is based off of wins, then I get it.
It's not though. It's not. It's really not.
It's not based off of numbers. He got the you should have got it a couple years ago, so here you go.
It was last year.
Horseshit. He shouldn't be in there. Not over. Keontae George is averaging 25, 7, and 4. Michael Porter's averaging 25, 7, and 5. If Tyler Hero is healthy, Norman Powell's not an all-star.
Well, he is now. Boo-hoo. I am
going to do it.
Because I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I am riding the wave because he wasn't an all-star last year, and he should have been.
No, he shouldn't have been. But you know what? It is what it is. Yeah. That is going to do it for episode 180 of Stats Over Politics. We will be back next Friday for another NBA podcast. We are going to next week will be the last Friday episode because Monday we'll do recapping the Super Bowl, and then Alex will be on every Monday. So I know a lot of you guys like that we bring Alex on, bring on a woman podcaster. Everyone loves it. So every time Alex is on, the views are always high. The vibes are always great. So Alex, thank you yet again for joining us. This is Kevin Dent stepping in for Shaun Holko and Jaevon. This is Alex Dent. This is episode 180 of Stats Over Politics. We will see you guys Monday for a very special episode on Monday. I'm not going to get into why the episode is going to be special, but it's going to be another very special episode. So make sure you turn on those notifications, and you will see us Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. This is Stats Over Politics. We are signing out. You guys have a great